I am back. I'm back from vacation. I actually got back about 3 weeks ago, but it has just been incredibly busy. I swear, when we finally got home, which was not the smoothest journey, we ended up getting delayed by like an entire day, so that was not fun, but it ended up working out well. We got home kind of, instead of like really late at night, we ended up getting home the next day, but like in the middle of the day. So when we got home, we kind of just hit the ground running. And so it's just been a lot of catching up to do, spending a lot of time with the kitties because they missed us. I missed them a lot. And it's summer, so the kids wanted to go see all their friends. I had a lot of friends that I wanted to go see. I needed to get my car checked out, like just a lot of stuff. And it's been really great. It's been really, really great. I am very excited for things to kind of slow down just a little bit though. I don't want to get into a whole lot of talking about what my trip was like. If you would like to know more, go ahead and ask in the comments below and we can chat down there about it. But one of the biggest things that I learned on the Camino de Santiago, which is kind of a historical and religious pilgrimage, which we're not really religious, but that's where it started, and a lot of people do it for many other reasons. The biggest reason I could see for a modern day person who isn't like for myself is just getting up every single day and walking miles, and the thoughts that you're left with, taking that opportunity to completely unplug. Like, a big takeaway from me was that I can do it, I guess, as a whole. That's a ton of walking. Our feet, after like 3 days, we just had enough of just constant pain in our feet. And just even after the first day and then continuing on for the next 2 days, toughing it out through the pain, I proved something to myself that I didn't even know I had in me. That was an incredible, huge takeaway, especially seeing as how even just a few months ago I was living with like chronic pain, and the fact that I was able to do this was incredible for me. Incredible. Other than that, to pack everything in your backpack, live off of that for 2 to 3 weeks. And they say that people like overpack, and I thought I had done really well at not overpacking, and for the most part I did. I usually feel like I'm a massive overpacker, and I saw in myself that I do kind of cling to things for the safety. What if I need them? It turns out I didn't need it. So to really see that, like, you have to consider every item that you put in your backpack, because that's just more stuff to carry. It's more stuff to organize, to repack in your backpack, to deal with. And when you are backpacking like that, it really, really matters. It was transformative in a way. I felt that for the most part, I used everything that I brought and didn't really bring a lot of unnecessary things, except, and I don't regret my choice, but I kind of regret my choice. I prepared for a lot of rain, so I brought a couple items that if it rained, I was going to be so thankful for having, but it turns out we got no rain until the very last 2 days. So I was lugging this stuff around for 2 weeks that I didn't need. I would have brought something different though. Like, I brought nice rain jackets that were also going to offer warmth, because I wasn't sure that if it was going to be colder. It turns out even if it rained, it was still really warm and humid. So just taking like a throwaway poncho would have been a much better plan. I also had brought like a pair of pants that were more like water resistant, so I didn't have wet clothes if it rained, because that can get really miserable all day. And then we also had to deal with air drying our clothes. There was only one place in all the places we stayed that actually had a dryer. Everywhere was like hang dry. So I knew that that was going to be a problem. So it needed to be stuff that would dry really fast. I don't regret that, but I did end up leaving those behind at one point when I was like, you know what? We've been here for 5 or 6 days, I think, and I don't need these. I could maybe need them in the future. I just don't want to carry them around anymore. So I ditched a pair of pants at one place. I ditched my son had brought sandals and he was like, honestly, these are actually super uncomfortable. I won't wear them. So we ditched those at another place. And we like along the way left things behind that we just did not want to deal with anymore. There was actually something really liberating about that because I also was thinking, man, these cost us money, but is saving that money is saving that money worth carrying around this extra baggage? And the answer was no. I got to a point where I didn't care. And that was another just kind of caveat to this whole like packing thing and like thinking about value, money value versus happiness value, things that serve you well. Because literally it was the embodiment of carrying around baggage that doesn't serve you and how it makes you feel. And it feels like a physical weight, yes, but it also feels like this other kind of emotional weight to carry around these big bulky sandals that you weren't even going to use, and having to deal with them every day is frustrating. And it's like, once we got rid of them and I just called it, was like, oh, this is so much nicer, so much happier. So that was really cool, unexpected lesson that I got out of that. That being said, I'm sorry, that was such a long explanation. That being said, before we were even done with our trip, I'm like, I feel inspired to go clean out my closet, get rid of stuff that I haven't worn in a long time that maybe I would wear in the future, or maybe if I lose that extra 10 pounds I've been trying to lose for the longest time. I just want less stuff. Just physically, I want less stuff. I want to start minimalizing my life because mentally it feels so much better. Like I said, I didn't really want to get into a lot of things about our trip just because it's a whole conversation for another time. Y'all are here for books. But I felt that for an Unhaul challenge, that this was the best time to talk about that, because as you can see, I have a massive library, and the last 2 years or year and a half, I've been really kind of like battling with myself, like, should I read this? Should I keep this? What if I really like it? What if I'm missing something? FOMO and all these things attached to these. So I'm just ever more inspired to go ahead and get rid of things that do not serve me well. And those, we're going to start with books I don't care enough about to keep them, to read them, to invest my precious time into. So I think it's going to be interesting going forth to see what now if my credentials change for, should I keep reading this book? Should I just call it? Okay, so this is the month of July. This just so happens to be my birthday month, and I want it to be my choice. So we're not going to pick from the jar. I'm sorry. I do love my jar. I really do. But this month I want to do it my way. So I have a little mini stack. We're going to start with the mini stack. Hopefully we can add more to the pile if we get through that stack. We'll talk about those. And then I actually am going to go ahead and show you the books I'm unhauling so far. Let me go grab those books. I know this is kind of a big stack, but I do think that there are some on here that are going to be a pretty quick decision whether or not they are just that addictive kind of read that I would be looking for in that style and genre of book. You should know within the first chapter, 2 chapters, whether or not it's going to be that kind of read. Summer books. I had in my mind that I wanted to read summery books. We have Same Time Next Summer by Annabelle. Charming should go directly into your beach bag. Sam's life is on track. She has a perfect doctor fiance, a great job in Manhattan, and is about to tour a wedding venue near her family's Long Island beach house. Everything should go as planned, yet the minute she arrives, Sam senses something is off. Wyatt is here, her Wyatt. But there's no reason for this 30-year-old engaged woman to feel panicked around the guy who broke her heart when she was 16, right? So we kind of have a second chance romance potential here. I love that dynamic. When in Rome, a novel of piazzas and passion, is totally happy and in love with her wonderful, dependable boyfriend, David. So why does she always daydream about running into her gorgeous ex-boyfriend, Mike? Mike. It can't mean that she's still in love with him, especially since the cad dumped her so horribly. As luck would have it, when Georgie's daydream actually comes true, she is dressed in unglamorous sweats and carrying a curtain rod down the street, while Mike is driving an expensive sports car and looking better than Brad Pitt in the Oscars. She longs to have the glamorous life that Mike can offer and starts to think that he might want her back in his arms. Again, kind of the same like second chance romance kind of thing, except just a little bit different stakes, which I kind of think is interesting. We have Heaven and Earth. Is this a summer one? Every summer, Tessa follows her father to his childhood home in Puglia, a land of relentless, shimmering heat, centuries-old olive groves. Everything changes the summer she meets the 3 boys who live on the farm next door. The man Teresa will love for the rest of her life. Raised like brothers, the 3 boys share a complex and seemingly unassailable bond. But there is resentment underneath the surface of the strange brotherhood, and when Byrne commits a brutal act of revenge, not even a final pilgrimage to the edge of the world will be enough to bring back the golden hours of their youth. When they say a pilgrimage to the edge of the world, there's actually literally, when I was in Spain, when you go to Santiago de Compostela, you can go further on to the edge of the world. So I don't know if they're literally talking about the exact same thing. I think that's why this ended up on the list. An unforgettable story of enduring love and bonds between men and the all-too-human search for meaning. Heaven and Earth is a big, sprawling novel in which to lose oneself. And then we have the Wildling Sisters. 4 sisters, a house with a past, and one shocking summer. So we have summer. If you know me, if you've been around here, you know how much I love books that like kind of have central location in a house or about a house that's almost its own character. Anything to do with houses, I'm there. A haunting mystery about the secrets of the past, the bonds within families, and the hidden ties that connect people across time. A story to be savored. I think I'm really going to like this one. The When in Rome one, I'm kind of thinking that's not going to work for me. And then the Heaven and Earth could go 2 ways. It has to be really, really catchy or addicting in some way. I have to really get attached to those characters, I think, if it's going to work. Okay, going on to the fantasy books, we have Fireborn. This is the first in a series, and it's not my favorite because this is the paperback, and then the second book in the series is a hardback. This is also a middle grade book, and as much as I'm absolutely 100% for anybody of any age group reading middle grade books, even though I'm not a middle grade person, I just don't for some reason. But I think that if this is good, it's middle grade, so it would be very quick read. 12 is a huntling. She gave up her name and identity to train in the art of fighting monsters, but secretly builds her skills to take revenge of those who took her family from her. Then 12's new home is attacked, and a fellow huntling named 7 is captured. 12 decides to rescue 7 alone, a choice that sends her on an epic quest, far from all she knows, and on a path that will lead her to discover the dark truths about her world and the past that she has desperately tried to hide. Then we have this one, Liberty, I think. Magic, Betrayal, Sacrifice by Gita Trellis. And this author, I think I actually read another one by her. Yes, Enchantée. I read Enchantée a long time ago, and I did really enjoy it, and I think that's why I picked this up. Not to mention, it's a beautiful cover. However, after reviewing the back of the book a little bit more, I don't know if this really is going to be the book for me. Camille gambled everything she had to keep herself from her and her sister safe from the dangers of Versailles. But as the people of Paris riot safely doesn't exist anymore. Not when Camille lives for the rebellion. As her revolutionary pamphlet captivates the public, she begins to suspect a dark magic she can't control lies at the heart of her success. And now magic carries a death sentence. In this new Paris, where allegiances shift and violence rules the streets, the answers that Camille seeks about her past set her on a perilous path, one that may cost her the boy that she loves, and even her life. So I'm not really sure what it's going to take for me to really get into this book. I think I'm really going to have to love the characters or the writing, because as far as plot, this is not necessarily a plot that I'm super interested in, or I'm really gonna have to pine for that relationship in order to make everything else work. So we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna really try to keep that book in pristine condition when I read it, because even if I do finish it and read it, it might be a book that I would just go ahead and unhaul anyways. I don't seem so, yeah. I mean, I guess you never know, right? Okay, then we have Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This one is really making the rounds. It's very popular on BookTube. A lot of people love this book, and for the most part, it does sound like a book I would really like. However, whenever a book is really, really hyped, I generally leave wondering why. So I feel like I would like to go ahead and prioritize this to kind of just decide whether or not I can trust BookTube or not. Also, this is kind of a beat up cover book. This was actually an ARC copy, and somebody really had a good time with this. They've tabbed it up. Of course, I hope that I really like this as much as everyone else seems to love it, but I don't want to be in that boat where I'm like, everyone loves this book, it's got to be good, and I end up holding it on a pedestal and waiting years until I get around to it, just for it to let me down in years to come. That seems to happen too often. This one is just a massively huge book. As I probably mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of the hardback. They're heavy, they're bulky. There was something about this book. I think a little bit of the cover. I think there are like vampires and stuff in it too, and that's why I ended up actually bringing this one home. Anyways, that is The Cry of the Ice Mark by Stuart Hill, and this is about the Ice Mark is a kingdom in grave danger. Its king has been killed in battle, its enemy lies in wait, and its fate rests on the shoulders of one girl. Another thing is that little thing kind of reminds me of like Buffy, and so I have a side project about Buffy, so I do kind of seek out books that kind of have that same setup to see if you could compare it to Buffy. Anyways, a beautiful princess and an intrepid warrior. Theron is only 13, but she has been preparing for this moment her whole life. Now she must find a way to protect her tiny kingdom from the most terrible invasion it has ever known. To beat back the cunning general and his conquering army, Theron will forge an extraordinary coalition of noble snow leopards, ancient vampires, ferocious wolf folk. She will find unexpected strength in her friendship with a young warlock, and an epic adventure. This dazzling debut heralds the arrival of a heroine who is dauntless in the face of impossible dangers and decidedly wild at heart. There is that one. Okay, and then another one I actually just picked up because I have heard some things about this. It's very intimidating how big it is. It's also a romantasy, which is not really the genre. Don't ask why I even own this book. No, because this book is absolutely gorgeous. It's just, I decided to just pick it up and see. Okay, so that is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Yeah, look at this brick. Holy 689 pages. But when I say that this book is beautiful, like all the chapter headings have like a really pretty graphic. If you look closely at this cover, this and this. Okay, so I think there are these kinds of like dragons, and I think that it's kind of dealing with like an elemental magic, which all is very interesting. Wish me luck. I do really want to love this book, but I've just heard a lot of things that I feel like I would not like the same things. So I also, okay, even where I'm at in this book, I do worry that it's going to kind of start turning into like a book for the aesthetics and like go for like moon imagery and certain types of imagery that maybe are kind of, you know, very forceful a little bit. The stack of books that are going in the Unhaul pile, some of them I know I'm not going to be even bothering to even take them for trade-ins. There's a couple in here that I think will be very good candidates to take in and get some store credit for them. Which, by the way, the place that I generally love to go is under new ownership. Haven't checked in. It like happened right before we went away on vacation. So I don't know if they're going to have the same policy, if they're going to buy the same kinds of I don't know how that's going to change for like my trade-in, or even if they're going to continue doing that. I imagine they're going to, because owner who owns it or used to own it, I was talking to her a lot the last time I saw her, and talking about like the new owners. She goes, oh yeah, they seem like the nicest people and they want to basically keep things the same, but she also has really cute ideas for the shop. So I'm like, okay, like this is gonna be cool. So anyways, side note. Okay, so the first 4 books are mass market paperbacks. There is this series, the Kingmaker Sword, Western King, Broken Blade. It is part of a series. I think seriously, I was just like, the graphics on it are just like so charming and so beautiful that the book has to be good, right? But I did actually start reading like the first couple pages in it, and there was something about it that I was like, you know what? I'm forcing myself. I've never even heard anything about these. I don't actually think that I just don't want to invest time into these books. So anyways, yeah, I am getting rid of those. I'm also getting rid of this book, California Girl. I don't know what I was thinking when I picked this book up. I think it was because it was like part of this whole like fill a bag for a few dollars or something like that. I don't know. Oh, it was like, I don't know, it was like a crazy, it was a crazy cheap sale of books. Something about this really intrigued me because I grew up in Southern California. The characters are Orange County, California, 1954, whatever. But the more I closely read on the back of the book, I was like, wait a minute. These aren't generally what I read. So forever until I even got around to it, knowing myself. So that is out of here. Okay, this one I actually am reading right now, and that is An Anonymous Girl, and I don't know how I feel about this one. I think I already know what's happening because I read another Greer Hendricks book, and I did really like it. It was so wild and so trippy, and I didn't see what she was doing until the reveal, but because of reading that book and knowing how she likes to put her domestic thrillers together, I'm like, I know what's going on. And I think I'm only 33% of the way through this book, and I feel like we've already had a reveal in a sense. Like, it's not even like I'm being prolific on trying to decode her style. It's literally right there. It's so obvious. I feel like it's obvious that what she's doing. I think I'm still gonna finish the book, but I don't need to keep this book. It's gonna go bye-bye. All right, we have Summer People. This was actually supposed to be in the Read It or Unhaul It summer books list. I already gave it a try. It's mind numbing. I just not into it. Okay, this one's really difficult choice because it looks so cute. I wanted to love it so much, but I'll be honest, I'm so bored. I'm so bored. And that is the Saturday Night Ghost Club. This is really popular on BookTube. And so I think I kept pushing myself to try to connect to it more, try to take it in, try to like it. And I just don't. It's a kind of humor that is just not my taste. It's kind of out there, wacky, and dramatic for the sake of being wacky, I feel like, which doesn't feel natural to me, and therefore I don't find it interesting, and I don't know why this book is so popular. And I guess this was like solve ghost crimes or something, and like, I don't know, I'm just like waiting for it to happen, and like nothing's happening, so that is going bye-bye. All right, then we have The Weird Sisters. Again, I think I just changed my mind on it. It's just not my cup of tea, my kind of book about this relationship between these sisters and their mom or something like that. But as a general rule, I just tend to not end up really liking those. Now, I love these kinds of things for movies. I like movies that kind of involve these things, but sitting through, nearly 400-page book, nah, not for me. Okay, it ends with us. I actually finally saw the movie. I wasn't going to invest and go buy the movie or go see the movie. I ended up actually seeing the movie on the airplane. Oh my god, why am I drawing a blank? Like, the only thing I can remember is everything that's been in the publicity about all the drama and stuff like that. But I was gonna read this book, kind of hate read it for like a vlog or whatever, but that doesn't really serve me any real purpose. It doesn't serve me anything good. And a lot of it was like, I had actually read the first 3 chapters of this book, and I had some really big reactions to it, and I thought, maybe I should go ahead and continue to read this story and react to it live, because I mean, it could be entertaining. But now that I've seen the movie and stuff, I'm just like, I got better things to do with my time. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, then we went to the woods, and I don't know, what was this? I don't even remember. I just lost interest in this, so it's going bye-bye. I think that the cover actually really drew me to this. It's like so beautiful. I actually really like this cover. I don't know, something about it, I just lost interest. Okay, The Miniaturist. This is technically a copy. I ended up finding the paperback edition of this book. This one does have some damage on the spine anyways. And again, I'm just not a huge fan of big, bulky hardback books. So I'm happy I found the opportunity that made sense for me to go ahead and trade up for the paperback edition. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of. Okay, Cast in Firelight. This one I feel like has been on the Read It or Unhaul It. I want to list like since the beginning of the year. And I've picked it up a couple of times, but then I was like, no, I'm just not in the mood for this. Then I finally just put everything aside and started reading this book. And at first I was like, oh, this is going to be so good. Actually, I'm glad I read this. I'm probably going to end up finishing this and liking it. But then, just like the flip of a coin, suddenly I was like, oh, wait, I'm not liking this. I'm actually really bored. It's very predictable. Very, very, simple setup of this. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of Swordcatcher, because you have this prince and his guard, and they've switched places, and this princess who's coming in to marry the prince, but instead of meeting the prince, she's met the guard. And so her and what she believes is the guard, who is the actual prince, actually end up hitting it off really well. Oh, but they don't know. At this point, he doesn't know that he's talking to the princess either. So neither of them know each other's identity. And I was like, ooh, this is some juicy drama. Actually, I'm really enjoying this. And then something happened. I can't even put my finger on what it was, but it it jumped off the cliff. I was just like, oh, I'm done with this. So that is that. Okay, this next one is really hard to decide to get rid of. I was trying for hours to get into this book. I rewinded it a few times trying to get into this book. I just can't. And that is To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn. This was a gift from my husband, and I feel so awful when I don't end up liking the books or wanting to finish the books that he actually gets me. And this one's so pretty. He was like, oh, it's got the spray edges, like all that kind of thing. But it's just, I literally cannot connect to it at all. Every word just goes through my eyes and just disappears somewhere in the mystery space that is my brain. It's just gone. Like, I don't know what I read. So I'm going to call it. I'm going to unhaul this book. But I was really nervous about this book anyways, because it is marketed as a dark romantasy. I think there's like some shadow daddy kind of thing going on too. And I'm sorry. I'm getting rid of it. Okay. This one I literally just finished reading in the month of June, and that is Tiger's Curse. I found this in a little free library. I did really enjoy this. Then I didn't like it so much, and then I ended up really liking how it ended, and I'm glad that I read it, but I don't need to own this book anymore. I'm not even going to finish the series. It's not a book that's like gonna stick with me. It was entertaining for what it was, and it felt really satisfying to be able to just like almost speed read through this book. Like, it went really quickly for actually being a fairly thick book. So okay, and then here is the last one, Carve the Mark by Veronica Roth. I loved Veronica Roth's other series. What is it? Divergent series? She wrote for Divergent, right? I don't know. Of course, I love that series. I know everyone complains so bad about the last book. And I do remember reading the last book and just kind of being like, yeah, it's not great, but it does conclude the series, which I love the series. So I was really excited to read this book, but this is actually a science fiction. Well, I guess her other one's like dystopian, which can sometimes be a bit science fiction-y. But anyways, this was like straight up science fiction. It's set in space, on planets, that kind of thing. I just cannot connect to it. I just don't like it. If ever I change my mind, they have the audiobook that I could check out. but I just am so uninspired. I really tried to give it my all, my 100%. And again, just like the other one, just kind of in one ear, out the in the eyes, and disappears. So we're getting rid of this one. That's quite a nice space on my shelves freed up. So I guess I will see you back here in a little bit. Guess what? It is already day 1, and I have 4 books I'm unhauling. I feel so good about that. The first one is one that I have not mentioned that I was going to be doing. I wasn't even planning on. This is a short story collection, and all I was going to do is put it by my bedside, where I like to do my reading and everything, and just kind of maybe think about reading one story a day or whenever. And that is the mashup, and this one sounded so interesting. It also has stories by John Scalzi, Tad Williams, and most of the other people I've never heard of before. This is a short story collection. I have had it on my shelf for a while. I think I found it at the dollar store. That was back like when I was really excited to read more short stories, but I just didn't really have any collections. This collection is stories that were inspired by the first lines of famous works. So we have a couple in here that use Shakespeare plays. We have, I think it was actually John Scalzi who uses Henry V's first line, something about fire, and then they use that first line to write a short story. And it just sounded like such a cool premise, but none of them were very inspiring to me at all. There was only one story that I ended up kind of liking in here called Writer's Block, and I thought that was really interesting. I almost wonder if this is more of a story for authors and writers than it is for readers. I gave it a try. It's not my thing. I'm gonna unhaul that one. The next one I'm not even really that surprised about. This is When in Rome. I'm just kind of surprised how quickly I decided this is not going to be the book for me. So we have this girl. She starts off with what it is her daydream is about running into her ex, only in her daydream, she's like all glamorous or whatever. But what ends up really happening is she's embarrassed. And there's just a lot of celebrity name dropping, high fashion, like name brand fashion. You know, she's wearing Jimmy Choo's and it's out raining. Anyways, she also mentions Sex and the City, and I just decided that this is so not my vibe. It's very surface level. It's very like the main character is so incredibly shallow that all she cares about is status, celebrities, fancy clothes, and I'm just not about that. I also just don't get how someone is still so hung up on their ex like that. Okay, granted, at first it sounded like it would be really cute. I do like the idea of like second chance romances, but there just ended up being something about this that just rubbed me the wrong way. She does have a relationship that she's in. Anyways, not the book for me, not into it. The other one I'm going to go ahead and put in the unhaul pile. I did find the audiobook for it, and that is Fireborn, and I'm going to go ahead and stick the sequel to this book in there as well. Started reading this story this morning. I got about 25 pages in. I kind of had a hard time connecting to it, so then I decided to go look and see if there was an audiobook for it. So I went ahead and checked it out. I am going to listen to that for a little while. So I just got World of Warcraft, by the way, and I'm actually really, really enjoying it. The reason I got World of Warcraft, because if it was an MMO I was going to play, I would probably play Final Fantasy because I've already invested so much time in my character. I'm all caught up with all the expansions and all that kind of stuff. But I have some friends that play World of Warcraft, and I just wanted to try it, and I'm actually really liking it. And I'm liking a lot of the differences, like the differences of flying between the two. But anyways, my point is I played some World of Warcraft for a little while, got some quests done, and I think I'm going to go turn on an audiobook. I'll probably listen to this one while I go upstairs and work on another project, and I'll catch up with you later and tell you how it's going. Alright, we have some books to talk about. First and foremost, An Anonymous Girl. I finished this book. I ended up giving it like 3 stars because it didn't blow me away. It seemed extremely long. We found out who done it. We kind of figured out what had happened by the middle of the book. And then the rest of the book was kind of solving this other part of this mystery. And then the conclusion, our main character kind of building up to a conclusion. I mean, it was decent. Thrillers are also not necessarily my go-to genre. I know a lot of people liked this because I actually had received this as an ARC, but I never got around to it, and I was just like, I remember starting this and then I just like didn't connect to it or something, and so I put it down, and then everyone was coming in saying that it was really good. So yeah, anyways, that was like so long ago, but I finally now read it. This one didn't work for me really because of there's one character in here, like a psychiatrist, and she is so over the top, to a crazy degree over the top. It makes it feel really unlikely. I think that takes something away. The next one, Fireborn. I really tried hard with this one, and it's so boring to me. I just cannot get into it. I just find it so mind-numbing. I also can't stand that the characters' names are like 1 and 5 and 6. Like, are we just lazy, or like what's going on? I think they did say, oh, just kidding. Okay, I see the point of that. It's to take away their identity. I guess I forgot part of the plot is that these kids went and got their identity taken away. So that's kind of what that's for, but either way, the rest of it is just failed to compel me to want to read it anymore. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of those. When the Moon Hatched. I've made it to chapter 13. At the beginning, I kind of like had to restart a few times. I ended up being pretty busy, so I did employ the use of an audiobook with this book, and that's why I kind of like rewinded a couple times. I do kind of wish I had been able to look at the book as I was reading it, just because there are so many instances in here that are so cliche. A lot of the similes and metaphors are very cliche. Like the words, the language used to describe these things, like you've heard them 1,000 freaking times, and I just cringe so hard. I'm just like, couldn't get any more creative. That is a big issue that I'm just like, the writing is really atrocious, really lacks a sense of creativity, because we are using a lot of very cliche similes and metaphors to describe things like as fast as the wind, that kind of thing. Yeah. Beyond that, the main character is just so annoying and insufferable. She is kind of I would say, I've also reviewed a couple other reviewers because reading other reviews helped me kind of articulate what I was experiencing. One other reviewer also agrees that our main character kind of feels like a Selena copycat, and I can definitely see where that's at. Our main character is like this assassin. She's working for some group. I guess this person that's her boss is this woman who is just really tough on her. She's always wanting to kind of push the boundaries of her job, you know, so she's always getting in trouble. She's just so ferocious, you know. She's like always hissing and growling and wanting to beat everybody and talking about how tough she is and what she could do to them. And when she's angry and doesn't agree with someone, she wants to pop their eyes out. I'm just like, woman, chill. I really hate that. I really get so annoyed with that attribute that characters have, that authors give their characters. I just think that it's so needlessly dramatic. The only difference is I did actually kind of like Selena. I know a lot of people found her annoying. I don't know. It's so, why do I like Selena but I don't like this character? This character seems annoying, and Selena just seems like she's just Selena. You know what I mean? There's something about the character building, I think, that probably Sarah J. Maas does that this book doesn't have, to get you to kind of like her. Also in this story, you have these like elementals. There's all this like imagery about moons and elementals and stuff like that, which just makes me feel like this is very extra aesthetics for the aesthetics kind of thing, which feels a little insincere. Don't love that. Of course, there's the very token iconic way that they talk about men. I forgot, there was like somebody that she was like walking next to, and she goes, and he smelled really nice. Like, I don't know, kind of the way they talk about guys, like giant and hulking love interest, and everything is just about how hot they are. We know nothing else about them. They're just hot. Or in one other case, this dude smells good. He smells good. Okay. I'm sure a lot of people smell good. Just because they smell good, are they a love interest? You just walk around falling in love with everyone that smells good? There is a lot of other instances here where the dialogue or the writing is just kind of awkward, just really awkward. Just suddenly random. I forgot I wish I could find it again. There was a quote in here that was just so off the wall, so off the cuff. You're just like, wait, what? What did you just say? So again, the writing's just not great. I'm gonna DNF this book. I think I have a friend that's actually interested in reading this. I might give it to her to see what she thinks of it, because she is particularly looking for books that are more like Throne of Glass or A Court of Thorns and Roses. Throne of Glass, Court of Thorns and Roses, Sarah J. Maas books. So she might actually really like, but it is not for me. I'm sorry. Now on to a book that I'm actually enjoying, and that is The Wildling Sisters. This is following two timelines. We are going back and forth between modern day and then 50 years ago. So this family purchases this manor, but manor is kind of like a stretch. It's a smaller home. It needs a lot of work. Actually, I haven't quite purchased it yet, but obviously I know we're going to purchase it. The main character has a teenage stepdaughter whose mother had passed away. So there's a lot of anger there. This relationship is quite strained. She has a bit of an insecurity that like she's never going to measure up to Mandy, who's the dead ex-wife. And of course her stepdaughter is constantly reminding her of that. So that's kind of where we're at right now, but we are getting on the page, exploring around this house, seeing what needs work, peeling wallpapers and things like that. And then in the past, there apparently was a tragic accident. Maybe it was intentional. I don't really know. So I think obviously this is going to be one of those stories that we're going to go back and forth through time until we finally conclude and find out what happened. But so far I am engaged. I like the characters. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen, if this stepmom and teenage daughter will find the space to get along. I'm really eager to know what the heck has happened in this house. Time next summer. Cry of the Ice Mark. I made a decent dent into this one as well, and honestly it's just not engaging to me. I did think that there was something interesting about this, where there's the humans and these wolves. The humans are very afraid of wolves. They don't think that they really have vocabulary. They are kind of mindless killers, until she runs into a wolf who actually kind of like laughs, and then she starts wondering if that's not true. He laughs, he runs away, and she's like, wait a minute, he like acknowledged me and then decided to run away. Like, there's obviously some higher cognitive skills there. Then she goes to speak to her father, like, hey, I think we need to learn more about the wolves. But again, it's just, I don't know, I'm just not vibing with it. Kind of feels like maybe I'm being too hasty, but I just feel like I just don't think. That's also going in the Unhaul piles. 5 books are going in the Unhaul pile. I've cleared up some room on my shelves. I am kind of getting burnt out on just reading really dull books, so we might kind of switch gears just a little bit. And I have a book on my Kindle that I'm enjoying. It's called So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. I've been going after my physical books and haven't been reading my ebooks, so that's why I kind of took a break on that one. That one I know I'm enjoying. I'm going to go back to that one for a little bit. I have the Wildling Sisters, which, as I said, I'm really enjoying that one. Red Hill by Jamie Maguire. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. This one, both of these I'm trying to read for a specific project. They were recommended to match certain tropes and themes that I am specifically looking for. Hi guys, just a quick update. We have a whole bunch more books that I added to the Unhaul pile last night. There's all of these. There's not really any point in talking about any of these. This one, Thunderstruck, I actually did get the audiobook and started listening to it. and it was just boring. I wasn't into it. This Study in Charlotte, I'm just not interested in anymore. Upstream by Mary Oliver. All of these basically, this one's actually a duplicate copy. And then Dog Park, I don't even know. I basically just lost interest. So those are getting added to the pile. This one, Red Hill by Jamie Maguire. This is a zombie apocalypse dystopian story, and it basically served its purpose, but honestly it's just kind of boring. It's so random because this author, Jamie Maguire, she wrote Beautiful Disaster, which is actually a series now, which is a sports romance. And I got really addicted to that story, even though it was just kind of like, I can't believe I like this, but I can't put it down kind of book. It definitely made you like feel all the feels very extremely. I was like, really? A dystopian book from this author? So I was really interested in it, but I got probably almost 40% of the way through, and I'm just so bored. We're just kind of jumping around to different characters and like where they're at during this apocalyptic event, and I'm just not compelled to care about any of these characters at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and DNF this one and put it in the Unhaul pile. Other than that, I've also checked out The Death of Miss Westway by Ruth Ware. That was actually a book I put on hold for a while, and it came through, so I got that. I know I'm like a complete and utter mess right now because I did go to the gym. I came home and I was cleaning, and then I ran some errands with my son. I haven't even taken a shower yet, which worked out fine because I'm gonna do it. I'm taking the giant leap of faith, and I'm gonna do a really bright purpley hair color in my hair. The last 2 times I had colored my hair, I was really contemplating going with a very different color, and I just chickened out and I went with like a brown color. So I went ahead and let my son help me decide which color to go with, and he went with the purple color. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do it. So I'm gonna color my hair tonight. I was actually seeing if they could get me in for a haircut today, but they couldn't get me in until Thursday. I also want to do my nails, so I'm gonna be listening to some audiobooks while I do all of these things. And I'll catch up with you guys later. And when you see me next time, my hair is going to be a completely different color. If it sucks, please be nice. Hey guys, welcome back. It is Sunday. It has been quite the weekend. I've been very, very busy doing one of the big tasks that I have been wanting to do for the last couple of years. I feel that I haven't done an excellent job being that ruthless, but we're getting somewhere. Finally, that task is getting rid of a bunch of stuff. I'm absolutely a wreck today. I have been working tirelessly, trying to play catch up a bit on some house cleaning tasks. I actually put my kids on those tasks so that I could dig in deep to corners of the house that I never get around to because I'm so busy constantly just the cycle of the everyday tasks that need to get done. They were such a wonderful help today. I can't thank them enough because it really did free up a lot of time for me to really pull things out of the attic, go through boxes, consolidate boxes, tons of books. My son went through all of his books on his bookshelf, a whole bag of books that we're gonna get rid of from his room. And I've also added a whole bunch more books to the Unhaul pile for this month so far. We're about halfway through the month and I still have a couple more weeks to go. I'm feeling really positive that I finally feel like I can part with a lot of these things. I'm being a lot more ruthless and it feels really good. But let's go ahead and talk about some books. I'm in the Unhaul pile, but I want to go ahead and talk about some books that I'm reading. I have been listening to The Death of Miss Westway. I will say this book started off really strong, and now that I'm kind of in it, it's kind of slowed down for me. Basically, we're following this girl who sees this opportunity to assume someone's identity to take an inheritance that has been left to this individual. It's very interesting. I really like that our main character likes, is she the fortune teller? She tells tarot cards. I have read a few of Ruth Ware's books and I have liked some of them, not liked some of them. I think she's a really good writer. It's just that this isn't my like go-to genre. There was 2 more books of hers that I would like to read, and that was this one, The Death of Miss Westway. I think this was touted as a gothic, something to do with this house. Hey guys, welcome back. It is late. It is the night before my 40th birthday. I feel like talking about birthdays. I feel like in particular talking about turning 40. and how younger people talk to you. Because I'm noticing a trend here. Like, I completely get it. 40 seems really old, but it's not. Because if you're on the other side of it and you're 50, you're looking at 40 being like, man, wish I was 40 again. That sure is young. So it just so happens, I guess, that there's just a lot of young people in my life. So then I got my hair cut today. I know it's up, but I got my hair cut today, and the stylist is like in her 20s. I remember her saying in conversation, and it came out that, I'm having my 40th birthday, and she was like, "Well, you look so good." And I'm like, it just got me really thinking about birthdays. First of all, I have been feeling old for the last few years, and a lot of that came with having like chronic pain, feeling like my body was breaking down, but I don't feel old, you know? I think, especially now that the day is here, like I think from like 35 on, you're like, man, that next big birthday, it's 40? What? I can't believe 40 years of my life has gone. But like the day is here, and I'm like, this is fine. This is great. It's no big deal. It's not like I'm going to wake up tomorrow and look 20 years older. And I feel like that's kind of the feeling that people feel when you hear the word 40. I don't know. You know that like whole age is just a number? Like it's truly just a number. It doesn't matter. And I also appreciate people saying, you look good. And I'm like, so do you expect that when people are 40 that there's like a look, you look 40, or that you don't look good once you're 40 because you're 40? Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I know I'm way overthinking it, but like, I guess if you're in my shoes and you have people coming at you being like, "What? You look good." It's like, are you surprised or something? Am I supposed to look old? I don't know. But no, I mean, I remember being in my 20s, like 30 seemed so old, and then 40 seemed so old. But like, I don't know. I think that also comes with experience. I think that you just look at it differently too, and you can't do anything about it. There's no sense in obsessing over the number and the age. You can't do anything about it. It doesn't change anything, and you're as old as you feel, I think. Like I said, like or a year ago, I felt like, how are other women my age doing all these things, or people older than me doing all these things, and I am struggling so badly right now, and now that I feel like I've put all that behind me and I'm feeling incredible, I'm like, I feel like I'm 25 again, like physically I do, and a lot of that comes with being healthy, so anyways, you're as old as you feel, I believe, and I feel great. And apparently I look great. So thank you to everyone who says, "Wow, you look good." Like I can't believe it. It's fine. It's fine. I'll take it. Okay. Anyways, enough about age, birthdays, all that kind of fun thing. So what am I doing for my birthday? Well, I do have a spin class in the morning, which is cool. It's a shorter one. It's a 30-minute sprint class. And then I have some weights to do. And then I'm going to come home and I'm going to take a luxurious shower. The kids have been in their own little worlds, and it's been really hard to separate them from their games and all that kind of thing. But I'm like, fine, whatever. So I told them that tomorrow is my day and y'all have to do whatever I want to do because it's my day. So I'm trying to come up with some fun things to do. So far, I'm kind of sort of striking out. I think it's going to be more of a chill day. We might go to this place and go and get coffee, or there's a place where you can get these like really cool like ice pops, and maybe go get lunch. But then I really kind of want to chill at home anyways. So maybe like watch a movie with them. But I definitely want to get some reading in. Reading is going to be a big theme. All right, so first of all, I am actually technically still reading a couple books. The Wildling Sisters. So the Wildling Sisters are a family that lived in this house back in 1959, 1950s. And a tragic accident happened, and then we don't know what has happened to the family since then, but there's all kinds of rumors about them around town. And apparently they sold this house in the present day. The present day is, I want to say 50 years from this time of this incident, and they've sold this house. No one really wants to have anything to do with that house. It's very eerie. But this family needs a change, so they move in here. In fact, it's actually a woman, Jessie, who marries this man who has a teenage daughter named Bella. They also have a child together named Rami. It's like such a weird name, Rami. They're having a lot of issues with Bella because she's very obviously very distraught. She hasn't gotten over the loss of her mom. It's not like they just got divorced. Her mom died, and she's constantly reminding her stepmother that she's unwanted, that her father will never truly love her. He will always love her mom more. She feels like she's kind of living in the ghost of this woman. Now, if that sounds familiar, it probably does. It sounds a little bit like the setup for Rebecca. And that's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like Bella is the equivalent to Mrs. Danvers. I love Rebecca, don't get me wrong, that's like a favorite of mine. But I've read a few books now that have taken on almost they're either an exact retelling or they've taken on that premise. It is a very compelling premise, but this one definitely is doing it in a bit different way. Also, this is taking place in this house. This is considered, I would consider this a gothic as well. One thing I'm actually really loving about this, because I love books that are set in houses or the house has a very strong characteristic aspect to the story, a role in the story, and this house definitely is feeling that way. You get a lot of what this house looks like, all its nooks and crannies, little spaces in the attic or whatever. I also started this one, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I honestly had no intention of reading this book, but I feel like somebody had talked about it in such a way, and then I had found this book. Actually, I found books 1 and 2, and I was like, okay, let me take them home. Read the first few pages, and I'm like, okay, I get it. This is really funny. Okay, but for the books for tomorrow, I want to actually finish this one tonight, hopefully. It's actually a really quick read. This might be pushing it to see if I could finish it tonight because I do need to get up semi early, but it's been really weird. I've been going to bed late and then waking up like at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's going to catch up to me soon enough. But anyways, I do want to finish this book. I have two choices for what I'm gonna start tomorrow. The first one is Hotel Magnifique. I feel like this one's a really strong contender because I already know how much I loved The Otherworld Post. I know that I got instantly hooked into that one. This is the same author who wrote that. Dark Fever. This is actually the first in the Fever series, and this is quite small actually. I mean, I realistically could finish this book in a day, but this is a series that I've been carrying around with me for years. I've been wanting to read it for years. I actually started reading it years ago, and I just never finished it because I was actually reading on my friend let me borrow her Kindle, like one of the really old ones that was really clunky. It was kind of hard to read on it. I was not into like reading e-readers back then. A few years ago, I found these books, and so I've been literally carrying them around forever, knowing I'm going to read them, knowing I'm going to like it. I feel like I have read at least half of it. I feel like I'll fly through the things that the beginning of it. I don't want to get up. I feel really more tired this morning than usual. Like as soon as I wake up, I'm like, I hit the ground running because I don't know, excited or whatever for my day. But for whatever reason today, I'm just like, I want to be lazy. I'm tired. I really want a cup of coffee and I want to read for like 15-20 minutes. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to eat breakfast today or if I'm going to go for a workout on a fasted state. But I really want coffee. And if you have coffee, it ruins your fast. So I'm going to go ahead and have coffee and breakfast. The class doesn't start for like an hour. Then it's 30 minutes. And then at least, I think it's been taking me about an hour to do all my weightlifting. Say hello, Sora. Oh, it's my mama's baby. Wanting cuddles. Look at Dear handsome boy. Pecans. Cinnamon. This doesn't look super appetizing. Oh, do baby want your whipped cream? You're so cute. Okay, I've set my alarm for about 45 minutes. I have my phone on the charger, so I'm not tempted to scroll because I've already been very guilty of that today. I'm kind of like working on a side project and I've been like really just in it. So I've set my alarm for 45 minutes. I'm gonna read. This was a really good choice. I've read the prologue and I'm just getting into chapter 1, and it's like instantly pulling me in, which is exactly what I needed and wanted, and I think I found it. So, I also did not finish Wildling Sisters, but whatever, it's fine. Hey guys, good morning. It is Sunday. It was my birthday on Friday. The rest of Saturday we ended up being really chill. We didn't end up going out and doing anything on Friday. We just really relaxed and did the things that we wanted to do at home. But then Saturday we did go out to this place that has a bunch of different art studios. They also have local artists that come and sell their stuff at booths. And we haven't been for a really long time, so that was really fun. We went and did that. I did get a couple of really cute little things. So my youngest son plays D&D with his friends, and he ended up getting this really cool mimic box. It's like a treasure chest, and when you open it, it has like a creature inside with teeth, and he's also using it as a dice box, and I think that is so cool. I'm really glad that he ended up getting that because it was either that or like a giant dice. But yeah, he did end up getting that. I got this. I found these soot sprite earrings. So this is really fun find. An iron-on patch. A Cancer the Crab iron-on patch. About 130 pages into this. I'm absolutely loving this story. So far I haven't gotten into anything new. This is all reread for me, but it definitely solidifies what is going on because it's been so many years that I did forget some little details. Like I forgot they're actually in pursuit of this book. Really, really liking this. I haven't made any more progress on the Wildling Girls. And that's about it. Not a whole lot of... Being that it is Sunday, I'm going to continue reading this morning while I drink a couple cups of coffee. And then today is a really big chore, cleanup, reset day. As with even during the school weeks, my kids are obligated to help me just clean up the house. So I have laundry that I keep saying I'm gonna do, and I keep putting off laundry, so that is a must today. I'm not sure where I'm at with audiobooks, but I'm gonna just put on my audiobook, and then at some point today I do want to play some WoW. So that is my plan for today, and I will see you later.